So let's give you a background. Barely yesterday, there was a court judgment in favor of Mr. Philip Shaibu that was impeached earlier this year as the deputy governor of Edo State. And we had that conversation just yesterday. We had on the two sides, the pro-Philip Shaibu and, of course, the pro-government side having to look at the legalese as far as that is concerned. But there were two judgments, actually. One had to do with Mr. Philip Shaibu, the deputy governor of Edo State, instituted two suits among the other suits. So the judgments were yesterday. One was the fact that he wanted the disqualification of Mr. Asue Godalo, the governorship candidate of the PDP in the September election. The court dismissed that particular suit against Mr. Shaibu, saying that, look, his status bar in the first place, and he couldn't prove it, so they dismissed it. It has to do with forgery of voter card. And so that was in the favor of Mr. Asue Godalo. But there was another one that has to do with Mr. Philip Shaibu challenging the House of Assembly, saying, I was unjustly removed as the deputy governor. And the court agreed with him and reinstated him and even said the IGP should immediately give him every security that is befitting of the office of a deputy governor, as well as other things that was reeled out in favor of him. But the state government has filed a stay of execution and also appealed that case. And so that is how things were as of yesterday. So today we understand that Mr. Philip Shaibu flew into Benin City, and in the same flight he was the APC governorship candidate, Mr. Monday Okpobolo. But something happened at the airport, and there was a shootout, and somebody died from the report we're getting. And so things have actually escalated in quick succession in the last 24 or less hours since that judgment. So what exactly is the true picture of what is going on in Edo State? How did things escalate to this point? We're being joined in the program by the SA media to the governor of Godwin Obaseki of Edo State, Mr. Crusoe Osage. He joins us via Zoom from Benin City. Mr. Osage, thank you so much for coming on the program. The elections are just about a few months away. So this is already July. We have August, September, so barely less than 3 months, or about 3 months or so. They are going to be filing out to the polls to decide who succeeds Godwin Obaseki. So as it stands now, there are more than 15 candidates who are vying for that particular post. But for the APC, we have Monday Okpebolo, and we have Asue Godalo for the PDP, and the Labour Party has Olumide Akpata, and the other parties as well who have candidates. But there has been one form of issue or the other across political parties. But of prominence is the one with the PDP, internal issues within the PDP of Edo State. So we have what we call the legacy group, who you can say they are anti-Obaseki, who don't support the aspiration of Asue Godalo. That is the group that Mr. Philip Shaibu has now aligned himself with and even endorsing the candidate of the APC while still fighting for his seat on the table as far as this government is concerned. So there is a mesh of issues, which is why we're getting the views. So let's see whether we can get Mr. Crusoe Osage on this one. Mr. Osage, can you hear me now?
I can hear you very clearly. I can hear you very clearly.
Okay, absolutely. We were not able to establish that connection completely. Now we can hear you. I wanted you to give us a true picture of what happened today.
Yeah, I said everyone who knows Philip Shaibu, knows that he's a merchant of violence. If you remember in the year 2020, our Royal Majesty Omonoba Nedo Ukwu-Akpolokpolo Baiwari II called out Philip Shaibu and warned him against his act of violence. Philip Shaibu believes that if there is anything to be taken, it should be taken by violence. And then if you remember, Wike also drew the attention of the Nigerian public to the disruptive and violent tendencies of Philip Shaibu, and that was in the year 2022. So Philip Shaibu gets a judgment in Abuja, and that judgment has been appealed. There is a stay of execution. The IG of police has been served with the stay of execution, and Philip just thinks that the way to come back to government house is to just come with thugs. He lands in the Benin airport, he's shooting up the place, he's shooting at people, destroying vehicles, scattering things, and then in the process, he cooks up a story and begins to sell it. We have to grow beyond this point of madness in our politics in Nigeria. Philip Shaibu caused mayhem in Edo State today for no reason, under the pretext of a judgment which has since been appealed, and which for which we have.
All right, Mr. Sage, I wouldn't want you to be calling names, and you know, I don't want any form of character assassination.
I will have to
no, hold on. I will not. Hold on, sir, please. I beg you. I like us to stay with the issues, all right? And I like you to discuss what you can substantiate. There was violence, people died, and all of that. But we will not accept calling names.
Everything I have said, I can substantiate.
Yes, okay, so
everything I have
because
said,
you called him merchant of violence, that's the one I'm speaking to. Please, let's refrain from such a session on the program. So I just want you to, because just hold on, sir.
I can provide evidence.
Just hold on. Because as you are bringing your evidence, I'm not speaking for Shaibu, I just want balance in the conversation. As you're saying, is the one behind the violence that ensued today. The video we played, I'm sure they're going to play that video at some point. They are saying that the thugs that attacked them were sent from the government, which is why we invited you. So, who do we really listen?
The question you should ask, question you should ask them is why? Why would we send thugs after him? There is only one deputy governor in Edo State. He's Omobayo Godwin Marvelous. That is deputy governor. He got a judgment in Abuja. The judgment has been appealed. We have a stay of execution. Why would we want to throw our state into chaos? Philip is the only one who has something to benefit from a chaotic situation here. He's trying to make it look like the state is in chaos and there's a problem, so that, you know, he's the only one who can benefit from it. And that is why he orchestrated it. So if you look at it clearly, you see, if you look at the whole place, look at the motorcades you're seeing, you don't see any government person there. If you look at all the videos you have seen, you will see that it's all his thugs and all his people. There's no government agency there. So I believe the police is going to investigate this and come up with a thorough report. But I am just warning that it's not news to any of us. In 2020, in the full glare of the media, the Oba of Benin warned him. He said, I know that you are the violent one. Stop your violence. You can, Channels has that video. You can go back and refresh it. You know, realize that as we speak today, he is a private citizen, governor. He doesn't even have the immunity anymore. I'm calling on the police. I'm calling on the DSS. I'm calling on all security agencies to investigate Philip Shaibu and bring him to justice for this wanton, unnecessary violence, destruction, and which we can now see has led to the unfortunate loss of the life of an officer.
All right, so as at the time the judgment was in his favor before the stay of execution as well as the appeal. So let me be clear, and Nigerians want to know, was because the IGP was directed to immediately restore his security details. Has that been done? From what you know? I know you're not the police. Hello, Osage, Mr. Osage, can you hear me? Oh dear. For the records, we'll try to get the other side of the conversation, the other side of the argument, which is the Shaibu side. But we hope we can get them as the show progresses. But for now, we'll just have Mr. Osage joining us to speak for the government. Mr. Osage, so let's begin to see how we can wind down on this particular conversation. At the end of the day, these are political disagreements. Now, what do you see happening going forward? Because the atmosphere has suddenly become charged yet again.
Yeah, our request is for the police to move in. You know, Philip Shaibu is a private citizen. He cannot just come in and shoot up a city and be allowed to just go free. He should move in, investigate, and if he's found, which we believe is guilty, he should be brought to justice. Everybody must respect the rule of law. Yes, you got a judgment yesterday. That judgment has been stayed. That the stay of execution has been filed on the Inspector General of Police. All the documents are with you, Zono. I've sent them to Channels Television. The Inspector General of Police office, they sign on that document acknowledging that they've received it. What a normal law-abiding citizen will do in that circumstance is to write to the police and say, come and enforce this judgment for me. And then the police will write back to him and say, well, your judgment has been stayed by an order, and there's a pending appeal. And then you go to appeal. And then when all appeals are heard and it's in your favor, you write back to the police and ask them to come and enforce your judgment. You don't come to the streets and start shooting up the city.
The investigation and other processes will decide who is guilty. You said you know he's guilty. You can't say that. It's the process, the investigators will find out that. But let's just dovetail into other issues around this particular one. At the core of this, at the end of the day, is that political disagreement between the legacy group and the Godwin Obaseki group, which has dovetailed into, you know, this series of differences, altercation, and now even political violence. Is the governor doing, what is he doing to close ranks? Because there's an election in September. Everybody needs to be in the room at the end of the day.
To the best of my understanding, that disagreement with the legacy group is long concluded. The purveyor of that disagreement is the person of Chief Dan Osiobi. He has since been suspended from, by the National Working Committee of the PDP, and we have moved on. Philip Shaibu has declared his intention to support the APC candidate. We welcome it. Let him move on. He never won Isako anyway. The Isako, 3 Isako local governments, are in the pockets of Adams Oshiomhole. So whether we have Philip Shaibu on our side or not, Adams Oshiomhole is going to beat him anyway. So we don't really need Philip in our camp to win the election. Whether Philip is on our side or not, Adams Oshiomhole will beat him in Isako West, Isako East, and Isako Central. Adams Oshiomhole will even beat him inside his bedroom. So why should we need him? We don't need him. We've counted our losses. We know that we don't do too well in those parts of the state. Do not Isako West, Isako East, Isako Central, because of the popularity of Adams Oshiomhole, who Philip Shaibu cannot contest against. So we have our strategy for Edo North. We have other parts of Edo North, Akoko Edo, Owan West, and Owan East. We count our losses in the Isako side. Take what we can from Akoko Edo, Owan West, and Owan East. Where our candidate is the most preferred candidate across the state. In Edo Central, it's going to be a landslide in our favor. In Edo South, it's going to be a landslide in our favor. We are confident that we're going to win the election. We don't need Philip. We don't need him.
It's amazing to see politicians talk the way they do, because we can go back to when Philip was one of the game changers. But while everybody is
he was never a game changer. He never won his local government, never won his ward.
It's just interesting. No, I'm just saying it's just interesting how politics
and the same ward with Adams Oshiomhole.
Okay.
From the same local government and the same ward as Adams Oshiomhole.
Okay. One question I must ask you is the issue of level playing field. There has been complaint against the government from both the APC and at least the Labour Party. I remember I had a conversation with Olumide Akpata here on the program, and I remember he complaining, it was even on the social media, that there's no level playing field. There's billboards being destroyed and this and that or the other. Is the Edo State government under the leadership of Godwin Obaseki giving everyone a level playing field?
The issue of destruction of billboards cuts across all political parties. The most destroyed billboards belong to the PDP. You can investigate. You have correspondence in Benin. You can mandate them to do a story and investigate who owns the billboards that are most destroyed in Edo State. So it doesn't have anything to do with Edo State government. It's just irresponsible people in the political space destroying people's property. And we frown at it. We hate it. We don't want it to happen to any political party. We don't want it to happen to us. But unfortunately, it happens within our space here, and it's sad. So with respect to a level playing field, not the state government really does not have control over the field. The field belongs to the federal government. The police is controlled by the federal government. The DSS is controlled by the federal government. The military is controlled by the federal government. INEC is controlled by the federal government. Edo State government does not have the power to create a level playing field. It is the federal government that has it. So Edo State is just Edo State government and his party. We are also in the field asking for a level playing field. If you listen to the PDP governors who met in Enugu yesterday, they had to call on the presidency and they called on the federal government to kindly allow the people's choice emerge on 21st of September 2021 when the election is held. So just to put it back to you, this appeal you have made for a level playing field should be made to the federal government. We trust that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows better. We trust he's a matured president. He's
Totally
somebody
out
who
of
has been in
time.
political space for years and understands the issue. So we hope and we believe that he would create a level playing field.
All right, Mr. Sage, we're totally out of time. It's an ongoing conversation. We just needed to get your take. And we will say again, we tried to get the Philip Shaibu side. They did not show up. We hope they are going to show up someday to talk about this as well. Crusoe Sage, SA Media to Governor Basiki. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Izana. Appreciate it.